Insight Brilliance, brought to you by H&H.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Insight Brilliance, the podcast from H&H. I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Janet Leighton from Timpson's, who has quite possibly the most amazing job title, Director of Happiness.
It's a real pleasure. Thanks so much for inviting me on.
I guess my first question for you is if you could share a little bit about Timpson's.
Of course, Timpson's is, as people know, as a retail business. And it's quite a lot bigger than people realise because we have, as part of the Timpson group, we've got Max Spielman who do photo processing. We've got Johnson's Dry Cleaners who do all the cleaning, dry cleaning. And we've got Snappy Snaps who do high-end photos. And most of those are further south Birmingham and then further south. But people often say to me, I didn't realise that Timpson's owned Max Spielman. So it's quite interesting.
No, I didn't realise there was a kind of photography arm to it. I thought I'd got the association with Johnson's, so my local Timpson's is is a shared retail space with Johnson's. So I was familiar with that one, but no, I did not make that connection at all.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So how did it start out?
Well, we've acquired the businesses obviously over the years, but Timpson's itself has been going since 1864.
Wow.
And we're into our fifth generation of actual Timpsons. Obviously, it's a family business, which makes it really, really special.
Yeah.
It's nothing like a lot of other businesses are, and it just makes it so wonderful for that reason. So it started way back when, even before our time, obviously.
Yeah, even I don't go back that far.
So then, as we move forward, we had John Timpson and then James Timpson. Obviously, John is the chairman, James being the CEO. However, James has obviously gone off to be prisons minister, so he's actually out of the business totally. Yeah. As we speak, hopefully not for too long. He just needs to make a difference in life, and it's his passion. And then I have no doubt he'll be back with us, which means that John Timpson is now back at the front of the business, working really hard to keep it where it should be. And it's changed over the years, and we've had many acquisitions, like I said, Max Spielman, Snappy Snaps, then Johnson's Dry Cleaners in 2017, we acquired them. And we're always looking at independence. There's always lots of things around the corner. So let's face it, we never stand still.
Fantastic.
So as a business, we're ever evolving and we move at quite a fast pace.
And it's founded on quite I say unusual, a different way of thinking about the way the business operates, isn't it? Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's really fascinating, the way it organises itself.
Oh yes, so different, 100% different to many other businesses. So we work on a culture called upside down management, which means people have the freedom and autonomy to be the best they can possibly be. Okay, so if you look at a normal org chart, at the top you'll see chairman, CEO, senior leadership board, down to the bottom with your more junior colleagues.
Yeah.
We are totally opposite. We have a pyramid. At the top, we've obviously got the customers right at the top, then closely followed by our colleagues in branches. Okay, all the way to the bottom where you'll find John. Okay, so in a normal business, the higher up the food chain you are, in our business, it just means you're there to support, give freedom and autonomy to more and more people.
Yeah, so you're clearing the path, aren't you?
Exactly.
To enable people to do the best job they can.
Our job is to support our colleagues, okay, so that we can give them the tools they need so they don't have to worry about anything. So when they are in work, they can focus and give excellent customer service, because that's what our business is all about, excellent customer service. So it's our job to make sure that they can do that. So if our colleague needs something, it's up to people like me to make sure that colleague gets that. I mean, that could be as simple as, I really need a Mars bar, I'm really hungry. I mean, that's very simple. It happens. And you know what? We need to deliver that. Somehow we need to make that work and get that there.
Do you find that people who are right at the front end of that retail, in front of the clients, what anecdotally does that feel like for them to have that autonomy and independence almost?
They absolutely love it. They absolutely love it because it feels like it's theirs. So if you walk in a shop, I would hope that the colleague you meet in that shop, who is highly likely to be working alone, treats that shop like it's their shop. What we do expect, though, in any great business are great standards. So there are certain things we expect. You can't have a great business if your shop's untidy, if you're not looking smart, if you're not wearing your uniform. So there are certain standards we set. We actually have only two, well, say two rules in our business. We have a third, which is health and safety, which everybody's got. Okay, so I don't need to talk about that, I'm sure. But the two rules, and they are the only two rules, is look the part, which means make sure that your desk is clean at night, make sure your office space is tidy, make sure if you're working in a branch, everywhere's tidy. Look the part. And the second one is put the money in the till, which means don't steal, don't commit fraud, don't do any of those things because you will get caught. They're the only two rules. Imagine a business where everything else is just a guideline. And you can try breaking it, you can try doing what you want with it. But actually, there's only two golden rules, and that's what we work by.
And to find the right people to kind of thrive in that environment, you've got quite an interesting recruitment method, haven't you? Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I read this, I thought this is absolutely brilliant. It just breaks that mold of how people approach recruitment.
Yeah, most certainly. Yeah, people quite often don't believe it when I tell them, but it's so true. So if we're going to recruit somebody, let's say somebody in a branch, whatever, we're all about personality. We believe that you can train someone to do a great job, but what you can't do is train a great personality. You've either got that personality, and that doesn't mean everybody's to be quiet or everyone's to be funny or everyone's to be loud. We're all very different, but have you got that spark? So, well, we're looking for people with something. So when we interview, we might interview in a Sainsbury's or Costa Coffee or anywhere, Tesco, absolutely anywhere that somebody might feel comfortable.
Yeah.
What we work from is, I don't know whether you'll remember, but we have, remember Mr. Men, Mrs. Men?
I do indeed, yes.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah.
I think they're still around actually, aren't they? But they probably all got completely different names
Yeah,
now,
they
so you
have,
wouldn't
yeah.
recognise.
So we look, visually, we can see Mr. Men and Mrs. Men. And what we've got is Mr. Happy, Mr. Smart, Mr. Untidy, Mr. Couldn't Care Less, Mr. Not Interested. So when we are actually chatting, I mean, this two-way street, that's what we're thinking about. Has this person got something? We want to know about you as a person and your life, not where you've been, what you've done. We're not bothered about any of that. When we look at a CV, we only want it for your name and your contact details and your email address, maybe.
I read that. I thought that was amazing. So none of the rest matters.
No.
It's literally what your name is and
Yeah.
and where you are, basically.
We're looking for someone who's passionate about either the dog, poetry, sport, the partner.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, as long as they've got something and they've got a spark that says, yeah, I'm here and I'll make something of this business and I'll make it my own. And then we'll take them on and give them that opportunity. What we don't want are people that haven't got that, who are like, oh, Mr. nearly 5 o'clock, got to go. Mr. always late, can't do that. You know, Mrs. can't be bothered, not interested. Yeah. Our business is almost, I say almost full because no business is perfect, almost full of what we call superstars or 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
We don't want 4s and 5s.
And it's probably not the right place for them either, is it? It's that kind of, you've got to find the perfect match of somebody who's right for the role and equally a role that's right for them to thrive. So
That's right.
I just thought it's such a brilliant, it was just lovely to read it, and it feels very open, and you are kind of judged in the moment in terms of your personality, which, as you say, is not something you can't create a personality for somebody. They bring it with them, and it shows up straight away, doesn't it, in an interview?
It definitely does. And the flip side of that is you could be in business for 1 year and be a superstar. You could be here 20 years. You've still got to be that superstar.
Yeah.
You can't go, I'm going to put my feet up. We've done 20 years, 30 years, 40, and a lot of our colleagues have done 30 years, 40 years. You can't just sit back and go, oh, well, I've done my time. I'm going to sit back now and enjoy it. Oh, no, there's no time for that.
You're too busy. You're too busy expanding, aren't you?
Exactly. But it works. This crazy upside down management really, really works. And I have seen so many people grow in our business who at first might be a bit nervous, thinking, all this freedom and autonomy, I'm a bit nervous, but actually people thrive on it once they get their head around it.
So once you get these people join, and they are autonomous, and I have to touch on your role. Your job title again is the best job title in the world. Is it Director of Happiness? Absolutely, there's joy in the job title, isn't there? But could you talk a bit about what does a Director of Happiness do?
It actually is an amazing role, and I have to say, I'd be a multimillionaire now if I had £1 for everybody who said that job title. It's awesome. I don't have £1 for each one, unfortunately, but that's what people say. And no, it's absolutely amazing. My role. I'm so lucky. I have the opportunity to work across the business. Okay, I'd say my role split into thirds. So a third of my role is spent doing stuff like this, maybe a podcast, or visiting other businesses who want to know more about culture and want to do some of it themselves, or I might host people at Timpson House, or all sorts of different things like that. A third of it is spent looking after our colleagues who've got financial difficulties. Okay, so if they've got financial difficulties, they'll speak to me, and in some cases I might go and visit them, sit down with them, and find they've got lots and lots of unopened envelopes, because people who get in trouble financially tend not to open stuff. So what we do is I'll sit round a table with them, could be at home, could be in a Costa Coffee, could be anywhere. We do it together, we go through everything and work out a financial plan for them. Okay, and then the other third is looking after our colleagues' wellbeing. So if a colleague is feeling emotionally distressed or needs some serious help, then they'll come to me and I'll try and help resolve that, support them. It might be signpost them. It might be that if they're a brilliant colleague, put them in touch with our private counsellor. See, what we try and do is, if people are feeling like that, is we want to help them as soon as possible. You and I both know that if you go to a GP and you're feeling unwell emotionally, it's going to take, 16 weeks maybe if you need a counsellor. So we can do it within an hour.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I guess, in that spirit of giving people the autonomy and the, and to thrive in their roles, things like mental health, well-being, financial health, they're all things that weigh very heavy on people, aren't they? So if you can help alleviate some of that.
That's right.
Happiness isn't always as a result of something positive, is it? It's about taking away burden as well. So that makes complete sense.
It does, and there's a lot of that. Again, people say to me, why, Janet, would a business spend so much time sorting out problems that are actually away from work issues? As I say, because no matter what anybody says about, you can't bring your problems to work, if someone's got problems away from work with the family, with the children, with finances, with anything, with the car, it could be anything, they will bring it to work. So what we want to do is help them resolve that issue, not do it all for them, but help them resolve it so that they can focus on work, be more productive, put money in the till, and we're cash rich. So it's a win-win situation.
And how do you measure that happiness of your colleagues? And how do you people talk a lot about metrics and KPIs. And I suspect you've got something very simple in terms of the way you measure happiness. So
2 ways we measure happiness. One is how much money we got in the bank. Again, cash rich. That. The second one, which is really important, is once a year we do what we call the Happy Index. Okay, now most people might call that a staff survey. Yeah. So what we do is every year in April, we ask all our colleagues one question, and it's, how happy are you with the support of your area manager? One question. It's unhappy face, which is 1 up to 10, really happy face. So all they've got to do is say which one it is, and then they've got as many pages as they like to fill out to give us their thoughts on how they feel about their area manager,
right?
Okay, or their manager. And believe you me, they do say it as it is, because they know that they've got the freedom to do that and the trust to do that. They don't have to put their names on it at all. All we ask is they put the name of the area manager on it. So you can imagine, we've got 5,000 colleagues in total. That's a lot of information comes in, isn't it? From that, we then ascertain how supported our colleagues are feeling by area. And likewise, it's the same. The area managers will get one that says, how happy are you with the support from your director of happiness or your finance department or whatever. So it's the same for all of us. And then, as you can imagine, it's scored, okay? And then you can see, well, you don't see it ourselves, but obviously people like John and James before him, he will be able to see who's done really well, who's not feeling supported, why, and if there's any changes to be made. And it's tough.
Yeah.
Area managers in particular who've got a whole area who might have 80 colleagues, if they get a bad happy index score, then we need to know why. And we'll support them and help them. And what we'll also do is do theirs again in 6 months' time. Normally it works well and they do improve, but if they don't, in the past, area managers have either stepped down or left the business, because if colleagues lose faith in somebody, it's very difficult to get that back.
Yeah, and with that upside down management, I guess that they are the people at the front end that you want to feel the happiest ultimately, don't you? Because that then radiates out to the client.
Exactly, they're the ones doing all the work that's serving the customers. We're not. We're just an overhead, which is why it's so important that we get it right to support them.
So tell me a little bit about, you found yourself with this unusual job title. What was your route? What was your route to the Director of Happiness?
Believe it or not, finance manager. So I've been with the business 21 years this month.
Right.
We were growing as a business, and James realised that we just needed somebody who could do that. And the remit for my job, you talk about CVs, the remit for my job was just get out there, Janet.
Brilliant.
But little did I realise at the time how serious it would be. So that was January 2018. And yes, we've dealt with some difficult things and situations and some absolutely brilliant things. It's just, it could be a phone call at 10 o'clock at night to say somebody's feeling really low, somebody's feeling suicidal. It could be anything. But it could also, on the flip side, be something brilliant. So, it's great, absolutely amazing. It really is amazing.
And I was reading somewhere around about your, do you have some kind of lottery or some kind of wellbeing fund that is available for people?
We've got so many benefits, so many. So in terms of the lottery, we have a lottery every week. So somebody wins £1,000 every week. And all you need in order to win that is to be on a payroll. So every week I choose randomly a colleague and get the area manager to go and see them on a Monday and say, congratulations, here's your fake money. We have a tin and some fake money. Or, or balloons.
That's what you need on a Monday, isn't it? That is exactly the day that you want to find out you've won the lottery.
Exactly, and it's a great feeling for the area manager who delivers it, and it's great for the colleague who gets £1,000 tax paid in their bank account that afternoon.
Wow.
We also have a loan, which has helped support people. So people apply for loans. So they come through me to apply for a loan where perhaps they've got a credit card that they're struggling with. There's all sorts. We don't charge interest. We charge a 5% admin fee because HMRC make us do that. And that's it. And that's then spread over 12 months, maybe 18 months. And it just comes directly out of the salary, so they don't have to pay it each month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it works really, really well. And at any given time, we can have £400,000 out there. Any given time. For lots of different reasons. People relocating homes or cars, or it could even be uniforms for the children, stuff like that. And then other times we'll gift our colleagues things. So let's say somebody's lost a loved one in their family, someone's lost a parent or somebody, and the family really can't afford the funeral. We'll pay for that.
So you really do extend out into your employees, your colleagues' lives, don't you? It's, as you say, they may bring problems to work, but equally your support extends out beyond the business walls as well.
Of course, which is why we only want 9s and 10s in our business. We can't waste money on people who are not great. So that's why we ensure that we've got the right people. And we want to keep the right people as well. We also have a pet bereavement day. And I know a few people said to me, "Oh, come on, Janet, that's a bit." No, it isn't, because most people who I know who've lost a pet, I haven't got one, so I can't say. But when I've seen people so distressed, what we say is have that day off on us. You and your family get yourselves together. They might have kids who are really upset. Get your kids together, sort yourselves out, and come in tomorrow when you're feeling that little bit better and stronger.
And that takes understanding and from their colleagues. Everybody is supportive of that kind of environment.
The other thing is, sometimes external businesses will say to me, "Well, hold on a minute. Does it not cause problems where one colleague asks for everything and one colleague doesn't ask for anything?" And we say no, because that colleague knows they can ask. If they don't choose to ask for those benefits, that's up to them. And if you do choose to ask, that's up to you too. Everything's not guaranteed. A lot will depend on, are you a great colleague?
And so, if there's somebody listening today who thinks, Director of Happiness, that sounds like a sort of role that we want to think about, what would be your advice? I mean, it's almost like, what was first, the chicken or the egg? What was first, you or the Director of Happiness? Was it, did you identify a need in the business for that sort of role, or did you spot that actually that was something that could make a real difference?
I think the first thing to do is recognise in the business, and I'd say to any business, have one at different level depending on the size of the business. Obviously, our business is a lot bigger, but I'd say the need was recognised, but you've got to find the right person. Person's actually got to be that role, rather than we've got this role, let's make sure somebody's got to do it, so let's get James to do it, or whoever it is to do it. It doesn't work like that. You need the right people in the right roles.
And as I say, the role could look very different for a different organisation, couldn't it? I mean, you've talked a lot about financial well-being and mental health, but potentially it could be something very different for a different type of organisation. It's more about what the colleagues' need is than the role kind of deciding what that looks like, isn't it?
100%. Some people who have this sort of role might see it as an opportunity to make sure that people have got free gym membership and got this and got that, all the very practical stuff without any emotional stuff. And that works too, as long as your colleagues in your business are happy. And again, I've talked to other businesses smaller, and they've talked about the lottery, and they've said, "Oh, we'd love to do something, but we can't do it at that level." You don't need to. Do a lottery once a month for 50 quid, £25. There's lots you can do. You've got to pick and choose. Steal a lot of what we do, but do it your way. Don't do it the Timpson way, because it won't work for you. But you can take those opportunities to make them your own. And a lot of businesses have done that.
So do you see directors of happiness popping up all over the place?
There's definitely a lot more. I'm the only person that's got that particular title in the UK at the moment. However, since this, other people have gone away, and I know for a fact we've got Director of Smiles, Chief People Officer, Happiness Officer. There's all sorts of different roles that's slightly different, but all along the same theme.
Yeah.
And some people think it's really soft and fluffy, this role, but it's not.
It doesn't sound. I mean, when you talked about it, there are some really practical things that you are doing to help people one to one. But it's when you layer them all up that it becomes something really special, doesn't it? It becomes, a way of being as an organisation. But it does get down to those real practical offers of help and support.
Yeah, it does. And sometimes it's about having that very honest conversation and respectful conversation, which some people might shy away from. But in our business, it's quite easy to have that, because we've got kindness and trust. We're not afraid to have a conversation that says, actually, this isn't right. What you're doing is wrong. It needs changing. Or if you're not happy, find your happiness elsewhere. Not because you're not a nice person, but because it doesn't work for our business. We're not working for you, you're not working for us. We'll help you find something, your happiness elsewhere. And it works. It really works.
I think that, honesty and authenticity are the key to that, aren't they? You are you are offering something, and in return you are wanting people who, as you say, are 9s and 10s, and that's the transaction that is between you and your colleagues, isn't it?
And we want our colleagues to be fit and healthy and stuff. And that's why, we have a lot of benefits, but some of them really help the business too. So we have if you give up smoking for 6 months, you get £100 tax paid and certificate. What we say is you can't stop and start every 6 months though. And
there's a limit to how many times you can.
We also offer £250 towards driving lessons. Again, it suits us to have people on the road, people who want to progress in our business. So it's a win-win situation. So we're not a charity, we're a real solid, hard-working business, a thriving business. But behind it, we do lots of things to make our people happier and feel more supported. And the interesting thing is a lot of colleagues I deal with are really unhappy.
Oh, right.
That's how I end up dealing with them. It's so true.
The road to the director of happiness starts with unhappiness, but yeah, I can absolutely see why that's the case.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? It doesn't. It could be quite confusing for some people.
So I'm guessing from talking to you that you are always thinking about what's next in terms of plans. Have you got anything on the horizon that you can share with us, things that you'd like to do, are on your wish list of how you support colleagues?
We've just moved into, we're calling it the Great Culture Month, which is really, really exciting. Effectively, what we're doing is we're doubling lots of things that we normally do. So like this week now, the lottery isn't one person winning 1,000, it's 2 people winning £1,000, which is really good. We also have scratch cards that we'll give out for people who've done really well. They scratch them off, a bit like your typical scratch card. It's got a no-win on it, but actually there's no wins, so you've got to win something. And we're also encouraging our colleagues to do lots of random acts of kindness, whether that's in work or out of work. So whether that's a free job for somebody or you've just helped somebody on the way to work. We're having a big competition where all our colleagues can email John Timpson, he's our chairman, email him directly with what they've done. And then every week he's giving a few £1,000s away to the winners.
Right.
So you can imagine suddenly, I know only yesterday you had lots of them already, I was looking at them, they had lots and lots of them. And then choose the winners each week and announce them, and obviously somebody's going to do well out of it. So we're doing lots of things like that to encourage our colleagues to just do that a little bit more.
Excellent. It sounds like John's going to have a very full inbox and a very busy month.
It was very full yesterday when I looked at it. I was like, oh my goodness, we've got a whole month of that to get through.
Well, thank you so much. From the sounds of it, is a very busy month.
It is indeed.
So I wish you the very best of luck with that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep that happiness flowing throughout Timpson's.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure and a blast.
Thank you for joining this edition of the Insight Brilliance podcast. If you'd like to keep up to date on the latest editions and have them delivered straight to your inbox, please like and subscribe using the buttons below. See you soon.
Insight Brilliance, brought to you by H&H.